Howdy friends, Lyndi here. Welcome to Lyndi Learns Finger Knitting. So today's video is in a little bit of a different format. I got the hiccups so bad on the one day I had to film this. So I filmed it without audio and I'm doing this voiceover instead. So enjoy this footage of me finger knitting. Also, I'm not really learning a new skill this time. What I'm doing is putting together a few skills that I already know and trying to create something out of them. For some great videos on how to learn to finger knit and do some of the other knitting techniques you'll see in this video, check the description. There's some awesome tubers that I found. I quite often will finger knit while I'm just sitting and watching TV. I'll let Netflix run, or like I'm doing in the video you're seeing, I'm watching either Catfish or Bob's Burgers. It's a fuzzy fidget, which I absolutely love, and it's really easy to do, and I've made scarves and whatnot in the past. But I've seen people make an octopus, and so I've always wanted to finger knit an octopus, and so that was where I started with this video, but it ends somewhere a little bit different. I decided to make my own finger knit Cthulhu. So, enjoy! As you can clearly see, I had no pattern that I was following. I was just trying to decide how long I should make things, while also not really knowing my plan for later for how I was going to use these pieces that I was making. So there was a lot of trial and error that went into this project. what I ended up creating were 3 different pieces of finger knit rope. I used 2 different threads for each of these so that there's a weave of color, and they're all different lengths. And what I had was my very first attempt at making a hat. I didn't do very well with my knit circular loom. It was too small for my head, but it fits perfectly on this little puff ball that I happen to have. And so I figured I could knit around this and tie it up and make it the head. Of course, I drop it, and it rolls all the way under the couch. Yup. So I took this thread that I had, which was the last of the leftover thread from that hat that I tried to make, and I'm going to use that to stitch everything together because it'll blend in with the head thread. Threading a needle with yarn, even when it's a yarn needle, is really difficult. It's not an easy task, especially when I'm down to the last of the yarn because it's all kind of fraying and separating from itself. I made that look relatively easy in the video, but I promise it really isn't. So now I have a head and 3 ropes, and I had to figure out how they all go together. So after a lot of trial and error, I found a shape that I liked, and I started sewing my ropes into that shape so I could then attach them to my head. After finally knitting all 3 of my ropes into the shape I wanted them to be, I had to figure out how they all fit together to form Cthulhu's tendrily face. And so I held them up to the ball a bunch, and I figured out the best way for them to go. I knit them all together with the same thread that I used to close the head, so it would blend in with the head skin. Then I knit those shapes onto the ball once they were all knit together. It's really starting to look like Cthulhu! I saved this longest one for last because I wasn't quite sure if he was going to go on top or on the bottom of the other 2. But I ultimately found the best place for him to be. Like I said, lots of trial and error here. Love the way his tendrils turned out. Seriously, look how cute he is. But I realized he needed eyes. So I had this little tiny scrap of leftover yarn. It was a whitish gray tip of one of my color changing yarns. And so I decided I was going to weave it through the front of his face to make it look like eyes. And so I just tucked in the edges and kind of weaved it around until Cthulhu had eyes. And there you have it, everyone. My finger knit Cthulhu. I'm so proud of him. I want to see what you guys knit in the comments. Tell me what you tried. Just try making yourself a snake. Try a scarf. It's really fun. Anyway, until next time, friends. See ya.